Bonjour et bienvenue. Today we will be looking at the present tense with hobbies in French. The title of the topic is Le présent avec les loisirs en français. It is part of our Unit 3. Some of you have already looked at hobbies in the past in Year 8, but it is a topic that you will also learn in Year 9. Our lesson objectives for today is, first of all, we will look at how do we say different hobbies in French. Number 2, we will look at how do we form the present tense with verbs and hobbies. Please remember to pause this video if you need to. Now, let's look at the vocabularies about leisure and hobbies. The first one, numéro 1, regarder la télévision, to watch TV. Numéro 2, écouter de la musique, to listen to music. Jouer sur l'ordinateur, to play on the computer. Surfer sur Internet, to search the Internet. Utiliser mon portable, to use my mobile phone. Retrouver des amis, to meet with friends. Aller au cinéma, to go to the cinema. Faire du sport, to do sports. Faire des courses, to do shopping. Lire des livres, to read books. As you can see, the verbs that are in red, they either end with ER or RE at the end. And this is because these are called verbs in the infinitive in French. In English, the verbs in the infinitive are verbs that start with a to. For example, regarder la télévision, to watch TV. Now, we are going to look at how is the verbs form in the present tense. In French, most infinitive verbs generally ends with ER. They are called regular verbs. Example, to watch, regarder, to listen, écouter. The present tense is used to describe a current event. In order to form the present tense in French with regular verbs, we only need 2 steps. Number 1, remove the R, and number 2, add a je at the start of the verb. Let's see an example together. Example, regarder ending with an R. So we said our step 1 is to remove the R. And we are left with regarde. And in order to form it into the present tense with the I watch, would become je regarde. However, it is important to note that there are some exceptions, especially with irregular verbs that do not follow this pattern. Now, let's look at how do we form all the different verbs about leisure into the present tense with I. The first one, I watch TV, je regarde la télévision. I listen to music, j'écoute de la musique. I play on the computer, je joue sur l'ordinateur. I search the internet, je surfe sur Internet. I use my phone, j'utilise mon portable. I meet with friends, je retrouve des amis. Like I said before, there are some exceptions that do not follow the same pattern, that is, you remove the R and you add a je in front of it. So now, let's look at the examples of those exceptions. Number 1, numéro 1, I do sports is je fais du sport. It changes completely. Numéro 2, I do shopping, je fais des courses. Numéro 3, I go to the cinema, changes completely to je vais au cinéma. I read books, je lis des livres. Therefore, the ones that are the irregular ones, the exception one, it is very important that you learn those by heart because they do not follow the same pattern as regarder, écouter, jouer, surfer, utiliser, and retrouver. Now, we are going to move on to look at how do we form a paragraph in French using the present tense and les loisirs. Looking at the question, qu'est-ce que tu fais dans ton temps libre? What do you do in your spare time? In order to plan this question, number one, we need to know what are the activities we are going to talk about into the present tense. You may add with whom you do those activities, but very importantly, why is to justify your opinion using an opinion phrase, intensifiers, and adjectives. You can also, if you want to challenge yourself, you can also add the activities that you don't do, again, justifying the reason using opinion phrase, intensifier, and adjectives. I have written for you an example. Dans mon temps libre, je joue sur l'ordinateur avec mes amis et j'écoute de la musique car je pense que c'est vraiment relaxant. Par contre, je ne fais pas du sport parce que, à mon avis, c'est assez barbant. If you look at my screen, I have color coordinated the sentences. So, dans mon temps libre, in my free time, the activities that I do, je joue sur l'ordinateur. With whom? Avec mes amis. And what is another activity that I do? J'écoute de la musique. And I need to justify. So in order to justify, I'm going to use car. I think that. Je pense que. It is. C'est. And then I'm going to add an intensifier, vraiment. And then an adjective, which is relaxant. Now I'm going to challenge myself to give the counter argument, the activities that I don't do. Par contre, which is on the other hand, je ne fais pas du sport, using the negative, parce que, à mon avis, c'est assez barbant. I'm sure a lot of you already know the translation of this text, which means, in my spare time, I play on the computer with my friends and I listen to music because I think that it is really relaxing. On the other hand, I do not do sports because, in my opinion, it is quite boring. Now that you have mastered how to form the present tense with hobbies as well as how does it look like in a sentence, we are going to move on onto your flip learning task. For the first activity, I want you to trouve le français des phrases. I want you to find the French translation of those 5 sentences. And the task number 2 is I want you to create a poster of what do you do in your free time with images, and I want you to justify your answer by saying why you do so. So you have to create a poster talking about what do you do in your free time. This should also include a paragraph where you are justifying your answer to say what do you do. I expect you to use your creativity in doing this activity to present the best work. There is a checklist also here for you on the right hand side to make sure that you have included all these into your writing. Your work is a representation of yourself, so therefore I look forward for the final outcome. It should be filled with pictures. You can either do it on a piece of paper where you draw the pictures or put some different pictures from printing, but it is very important to also have a paragraph and justify your answer. What do you do in your free time and why? Qu'est-ce que tu fais dans ton temps libre et pourquoi? Thank you for listening to this presentation. The title of the topic again was Le présent avec les loisirs en français, the present tense with hobbies in French. I hope this has been very helpful. Merci et au revoir.